But I wanted to catch up with my girl Margie, who should be jumping on shortly. And we can get started. But for now, how is everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing great. It's been a while since I've been live. I know I was doing weekly lives for a while, but I have been super busy with just being a parent and being a child with an elderly parent. You know, life pops up, being a caregiver of so many different people. So I'm back, and I'm adding Margie now, and we are here together. So, hi Margie. Good.
And
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
See if I can get rid of that. No, that's gonna make it worse. Okay.
Hi G.
You look
Thank
beautiful.
you. You too. I love red. That's my favorite color. You look great.
This from my niece who had bariatric surgery, and she's like, "Hey, I have some things that might fit you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll take anything. I don't want to spend too much money,
Right.
when I'm just gonna be too big for it after a while." So I'm like, "Yeah, this is good. It's a Christmassy kind of one."
Oh,
So I don't. You probably can't read it, but anyway, I think it says. What does it say? That's great. Can I read what it says? Glad tidings,
something king.
something king,
Let's.
something king. I can't. Newborn king. Okay, yeah,
That's what I said. Something king, because I couldn't see. D, welcome to the.
yeah.
Happy you're here. Thanks for being here. I
IT.
kind of like an impromptu live. I didn't really get to talk about it or advertise it too much, but I was like, I need to get on with Margie. I need to get back on with Chris. I need to get back on with people just because I was doing lives weekly, but it's just been a lot because I have my kids and my mom, and life just starts lifing, and then it's like, but at least I was consistent with my little weigh-in videos and stuff like that. I was able to kind of stick with doing that every day. Hey, Tony,
Hmm.
how are you? So let's just get started. Because I don't want to take up all of Margie's evening, but she just got back from New York, and so she's gonna give us the spiel. Hey, Claudia, she's gonna give us a spiel on her trip, and I know she did a video recently saying she only gained like a pound or two on that trip. So I'm gonna get into how that worked out because usually people go on vacation and gain like 5 pounds minimum, but not her. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with that.
Okay. Well, do you want me to talk about the food part first, or the New York part, or
Well, the trip, like,
meeting Chris, or
yeah.
huh?
Well, just talk about the trip and how were you able to manage just not gaining a bunch of weight on the trip. We'll start with that.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, obviously, I had lots of expert advice from my coach what to do. And you talked about, well, you can, have times when you can eat the salad and the grilled chicken and the whatnot. And well, it works out that I obviously I was very careful before for, as long as I could between Thanksgiving and when I went, which was, Thanksgiving was the Thursday before. I left on very early in the morning on Tuesday, so I didn't have very many days, but I ate very clean on those days. And yeah, so I went and I had the whole idea was that OMAD, you have the idea of, oh, all I can have is just water all day, or maybe some coffee or some tea or whatever. And no, OMADs doesn't have to be like that. One meal a day does not have to look exactly like that. And in fact, when I do a cheat meal, um, I usually will do kind of this version of an OMAD, which is coffee, sugar, a little bit of milk, some fruit. It's all fine. Don't worry about it. It'll keep you going. It'll keep your energy up, and it will it will sustain you until you're need to eat. And so the thing was that not only did I have dinner with Chris 3 nights, but I also had dinner with my they were there at the same time. Well, some of the same days. They were there Tuesday through Thursday when I was there part of Tuesday through basically time on Saturday because they didn't leave till like almost 11 o'clock at night on Saturday. And so it was kind of an interesting thing. Now, the food, of course, is expensive anywhere, but food is kind of a little extra expensive in New York, I'd say, on average. But I just basically, I kept it to either was coffee or it was one day I had fruit, another day I had some ginger ale as something I had to keep me going, and that way I wasn't starving. I was, it was sustaining me well enough, and when I really needed to eat, I could eat. And
Right.
so the first night, I was with my nephew and his wife and their 4 children, and they wanted to go to this place they'd been before on the Upper West Side, which was Jacob's Pickles. And so all I had was before 7 o'clock in the morning, before I boarded, I had a small, of course, caramel macchiato. Um, there was the milk and there was the sugar and there was the coffee, right? And I was just a bundle of nerves. I hadn't flown for 15 years. Subway was all new to me. I had to try to get to the Upper West Side all by myself. Although, yes, Chris did give me you need to take this train and you need to, and you need to take this train up to that way. But it's the getting between the two and not realizing I don't have to go up above ground. I can stay below ground, but I have to go quite a ways below Times Square to get to the 2-3 that goes uptown. And I started to get the idea of the subway after those 2 legs, I'm like, oh, got it, no big deal, and I've got the app and everything, and I'm understanding that the NW is the same line. It's just you have to watch it. Is it going towards Queens? Is it going toward Manhattan? Is it going, where is it going? And so I began to realize all that. So anyway, the long and the short of it is that I'm like, oh great, I get in late to the airport, and then I have a hard time with Uber, and I'm a bundle of nerves, and my stomach is in knots, and all of that, and I finally, I get onto the subway, and I realize it's just a tap and pay with any credit card. You just tap and pay, and so that's easy. I mean, the subway is really very, very easy. So I get there and then I have to follow Google Maps and I can't find the walk part on it. And I'm trying to figure out how to get to Jacob's Pickles. And I get there before my nephew and his family gets there anyway. But anyway, it is a Southern comfort food place. Oh my. There's no just grilled chicken. They have a roast chicken with lots of this lovely gravy all over it and these mashed potatoes. And I'm like, yeah, that's not even going to really anyway. So I end up trying to be good here, and I go with a salad. It's like spring greens and has tomatoes, that sort of thing. And there's a light orange vinaigrette with it. But I wanted, something warm because it's cold there. It's colder than it usually is there, and I'm just like, it's so cold. Ooh. And so I end up getting a side of cheese grits, which were yummy. And I tried to share some with others, and they took a little bit. And I started eating. It was, it was like maybe there was a cup in there, and I probably had 3/4 of the cup or whatever. But it was delicious. And of course, then they're like, "No, you need more sustenance than that." My niece-in-law is saying that, and this is the family that's very thin. They have no weight problems. Probably will never have any weight problems, right? And so she's sharing her chicken, a great big chicken nugget, fried, of course, breaded and fried, of course, right? And some of the cinnamon French toast that she shared with me. And so I had that too. And basically, yeah, I just, I didn't have to worry about stopping for whatever because I just had very small amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, yeah, okay, that's starch. All right, that's, I guess, whatever, I'll live with that. I had nowhere to weigh myself, so I don't know, what happened. Anyway, so then the next day, and with that, by the way, with all the walking in the airport and the walking, getting to the subway and walking around to the other parts to get to the other train and walking all through Jacob's Pickle, to get to Jacob's Pickle, and all the way back and all that, I end up getting, I think, about 24,000 steps in,
Oh
which
yeah,
was
worked all that off then.
I
The food.
yeah. Yeah, LaGuardia is quite the place to walk through. It's beautiful. It's a very nice airport. They renovated and everything, but it's a lot of walking just for that. And so yeah, I mean there's lots of walking. Every day I got between the last day I got only 22,000 steps in. Um Wednesday I got 30,000 steps in. And
Wow.
so, I mean, that's walking, 2.5, 3 hours at least a day. And there's very few places to sit. And I mean, unless you're gonna, sit and eat or something, or sit and have some coffee or whatever. And so there's a lot of walking. So I mean, you're gonna walk off a lot of this stuff, right? And so on
Hey,
Wednesday, then hey, so on Wednesday, I
hey, ladies.
Chris, I met up with Chris. Huh?
I'm I'm just saying hey as people come in. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. So on Wednesday, I met up with Chris around noon, and he pretty much walked my legs off, and but that was fine. And so then we ended up, where did we eat? Oh, yeah. In the afternoon, we went to this Korean restaurant. And so I have a little bit problem with soy. I have a major food intolerance, like I'm incapacitated completely pretty much the first day. I'm in bed moaning and in the fetal position.
Oh,
And I don't do
boy.
well. It's yeah, soy is really not good. So but I was like, well, maybe we can't, but maybe we could find something. They found some things that I could eat. So it's like, yeah, it's great. Let's just do that because that'd be yummy to eat if I could find something. So we shared, this is my health coach telling, I mean, but he knows, I'm being careful. I'm only having one meal a day. I'm having a coffee if I need, and I had coffee in the morning. It was just coffee, milk, and sugar kind of coffee. And so he knew, I was one mealing a daying it. And so he says, well, let's do the steamed buns. And so we went with the shrimp ones because they're the only ones that didn't have the soy in them. And so I had one, he had one, and they were the little ones. And then I had a bowl that was the only one that I could have. I really wanted a noodle bowl. Again, starch, me and starch usually kind of pumps, kind of bloats me up a little bit, helps me retain water anyway. But it had like spinach and cucumber, some kind of greens and some ginger. And yeah, I ate about half of that and I was like, I'm done. Because that was the whole idea is if I am full, I do not eat another bite. It's all I have. I don't want, I'm not like stuffed kind of full, but just like, yeah, I've had enough. I'm good. So and he's like, really? You're done? I'm like, yeah, are you really full? I'm like, yes, I'm really full. And he took a bite of mine. He didn't eat all of it. He just had some of it. And then the waitress decided to bring us, included it for free, because we could decide about dessert, whatever. And this big chocolate chip cookie that was warm, and this dish of tahini ice cream that had white chocolate and I think it was coconut in it or something, and this tiny little spoons. So I had about 3 bites of it, of the tahini, and I had, oh, I don't know, 5, 6 bites of the cookie. And I'm like, and Chris is like, oh, come on, have some more, have some more. I'm like, you're trying to make me fat. I was kidding him, about this. And um he goes, "We really don't want any more." I'm like, "I really, really don't want any more." So he ate the rest of. Yeah, he didn't eat all of the tahini ice cream, but he had the rest of the chocolate chip cookie. And so, I mean, he knew again, one meal a day. It. I'm not eating more than you know, if I'm full, comfortably full, I'm stopping. And
Right.
I'm not used to having huge portions. And so he's seeing, I'm not overdoing it. And so then
So
on Thursday,
one meal a day. So you're having
huh?
one. So basically, your
But
goal was to have one meal a day, so that when you did have your meal, you could have like what kind of whatever the meal was, like because you already knew you weren't going to be on like a strict plan, but in order to offset that, you were just doing one meal a day with the coffee and fruit, and then having that.
and walking a ton.
Right.
Yes. And
Yeah.
walking a lot. Right. And so, I don't know what this is going to do to me. I mean, I'm in a different place metabolically, a little getting to be slightly flexible, not, super flexible, but a little bit flexible. And not knowing what this is going to do, but like lots of exercise and everything. So Thursday, I went down and did some things in Lower Manhattan and saw the Statue of Liberty. Came back and saw my um, nephew and his wife, and that was the day when I what did I do? Oh, I went to Grand Central Station, went into the Grand Central Market, which Chris has shown pictures of lots of times. They just got all this great fruit, and meats, and chocolates, and all the really cool. And I was smelling all these smells, and I was particularly hungry, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to pick the wrong thing somehow if I don't do something right. And I'm seeing all this fruit, and I'm like, I've been in Subway, my hands are dirty. I could wash my hands, but then how do I wash the fruit? And how do I do this? And then I saw this smoothie, and I looked for one, and it had banana and mango and strawberry and watermelon and coconut water. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. That's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing I'm looking for. And so I had coffee in the morning, and then I had that.
Time. Sorry, was this your first time in New York? It looks like. Hey, Vadim. Okay, I don't want to think people think I'm ignoring him. Hey, Vadim. Hey, Lady T. J4. Hey, you guys. We're gonna get to all your comments and questions, but it looks like he said was that your first time there in New York.
Yes, this was my first time. I'd never been to New York City before. I'd been to New York before, but not New York City.
Oh, no.
And yeah, I never, well, actually, I did ride a subway once when I was 11 in Philadelphia. Um, but it was like one ride, and I don't remember that very well. But yes, it's my first time, and I'll get to how I enjoyed it and all later. But anyway, yeah. So I had that smoothie, and so that was my fruit. I had coffee and I had fruit that day,
Mm-hmm.
and then so then they're like, oh, let's go somewhere in Queens, because we went up to Bronx Botanical Garden, and they had this Christmas train thing. It was so cool. It was, oh, if you haven't seen my day 3 video, that one has all these cool model trains and all this cool, like they make everything natural as far as, around the scenery and everything. It's really cool. But anyway, I really enjoyed it, but I was so cold. It was cold. We missed the bus stop, and the stop didn't stop where it was supposed to. And we spent like an hour out in the cold, and I was just
Oh,
like, I'm dying. And the kids were dying too. And I was trying to, the youngest one, the 9-year-old, I was trying to, hold on to and try to keep the wind away from her and everything. She's sticking real close to me and everything. And so they said, I thought was, okay, Aunt Margie is cold because she didn't bring the right things. I didn't bring a scarf. I didn't bring the a cap. I just had my hood type um, jacket, which wasn't very warm. And I did have gloves though, but I was so cold. I wore the thinnest slacks, unfortunately, and the thin shirt, and I was
was
just frozen.
it
So
in the
they
20s?
took video. Huh?
Was it like in the 20s? Wasn't it like 20 something degrees?
Oh no, it was in the, it was in the 30s that day. It was colder than it usually is this time of year all last week, but it was particularly cold, and there was the breeze came, and I'm like, ah. And so they took video of me and said, let's go eat in Queens, because they knew that would be close to where I was. I wouldn't have to, switch around to a lot of different things. I'd be home. I'd be back to the hotel pretty soon. So they took me to an Italian restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Great, wonderful. So there's nothing really particularly healthy on there, and they did have some salads, but it was cold, and I'm like, I cannot do a cold salad, even if they put
Yeah.
warm chicken on it. I cannot do that. I am too cold. I have to have something warm. And so they got me some tea to drink, and everything else. And so I ended up, oh, there's this bacon and pepperoni, this Italian bacon, which is a lot less fatty, and this pecorino romano and this penne. Well, I got it, and it was like this creamy, fatty sauce, this lovely salty bacon, and this homemade pasta. Now, it wasn't all like this. It was like little bits, like flat on the plate and whatnot. So it wasn't a
They
huge
didn't,
amount. It was a
they didn't have
smaller amount.
steaks. Like they didn't have New York steaks and stuff like that. Were like just straight meat.
They did have steak, but it was super expensive, and I wasn't
Oh,
paying for it.
uh,
And you know how it goes. It's like, am I really going to spend 40 some dollars when most of them are,
oh,
like 20 something dollars? Yeah. Like,
what?
and I'm like, yeah, no, not doing that. And so, and the chicken one, the pico parmesan was all completely encased in, a breaded type of situation. So I'm like, well, that sounds good. So I ordered that and not realizing how creamy and fatty it was going to be exactly, and realizing, oh, that's more of a pasta carbonara. So, and I had about 2/3 of that because it was just so good. Um, and the kids were like, but my niece-in-law Gina was saying, "Oh well, kids, share a piece of pizza with you," because I was trying to decide what I wanted, and I'm like, "Well, no, I'm gonna have pizza probably tomorrow with Chris." And anyway, so they gave me a piece of their pizza, margarita, and of an individual pie, and there was about a sixth of one, and I ate about 2/3 of that and 2/3 of the other, and I thought, you know, I think I've eaten a lot of rich food that probably was a lot more calories than I realized it was, but it felt really good. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't eat everything, right?
Over.
So I'm like,
Doesn't sound like you're over. It's not like you ate like a whole pizza and a whole plate of pasta, and you had still had your breakfast from the morning. It doesn't seem like you was eating all day. So it was like what you did eat, and plus, like you said, you've been walking all day, all night anyway. So whatever
right, right.
you ate, you pretty much offset with all that walking you were doing.
Right, there's just a little bit of water retention from the
The water.
starch is what I'm guessing. So anyway, then Friday came and I went and visited the Empire State Building,
Oh,
um, and that was amazing. I just love that so much, going up to 86th floor observatory. I didn't pay for any extras or anything like that. It was just the usual whatever. I picked a time that was a little, it's like some of them are 49, some of them are 48. I'm like, okay, go with the $48. That sounds not as bad as it's expensive, but it's doable. It's a once in a lifetime
right.
probably experience. And it, and what else did I do? Oh, I went to Macy's, of course, because Macy's is just right a block or two down. And so I went into Macy's, and it was so crowded on the first floor, and I'm just like, oh no, what am I doing? And so I
Oh,
went up a few flights, and I went up the escalator a couple stories, and it wasn't so bad. It was pretty nice. It was like it's Friday, and it's like not that late, and it's like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, or was it two? Maybe two.
well, people
And
probably Christmas shopping. That's probably why it was so crowded.
well, the tourists go in and they only go into the first floor usually. That's what
Oh,
Chris says. And that makes sense. And they're just kind of going through and whatnot, trying to get warm and doing whatever. And I was like, oh, I want to kind of see Macy's and what it's like. And it was really cool. Now, what I didn't tell you, there's more about New York, and I'll get into that later. But anyway, so then I ended Milk Flour, she wanted to take me to, which is authentic thin crust pizza place. And so, which I have a short on that one. And he's ordering meatballs for us for an appetizer, and ask if I want anything else to drink. I'm like, no, water's fine. And um, anyway, so I ended up sharing. I had half. I had 1.5 meatballs. He had 1.5 meatballs, and then came the pizza margarita, which was mine, and then the meatball one, which was his, because I was like, you know what, you pick whichever two you want. I'm sure it'll be great. Just don't pick sausage because I hate sausage. So, so I did that, and I had 3 pieces, and Chris ate all except for 2 pieces of what was left of between the two of us. He ate quite a bit too. Understand, I'm telling you about Chris eating all of this because you got to understand that he was one day after all this stuff and he's down to 189, so it's kind of an interesting, he was being careful too, but he was also sick and whatnot also. And he's has better metabolical flexibility than I do, obviously. But anyway, so and then we had this chocolate dessert. It was kind of like a chocolate mousse, only it was really um dense and had this espresso cream on it. And I ate like 3 bites and I was done. And he's gonna give me that. Yeah, really? You're killing me. Is that's all you want? I'm like, it was delicious, but I'm so full because I just am not used to eating that much and eating that rich of food and eating all that much starch. But every day I was eating starch, 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 right? Like, but only for dinner. But so then on, and I think I had, oh yeah, no, yeah, I just had coffee that day. Or did I had a latte or I had coffee. I don't remember which I had. I don't remember. I had a latte. I had a vanilla latte. That's what I had. And so On Saturday, Chris was feeling better, and so I met him at the subway, and I had gotten a, I don't know if it was an 8 ounce or a 12 ounce um, orange juice, but I had some orange juice anyway. It was like, that's sort of what I feel like having, something with some fruit in it or something. And I could have gone and bought some fruit, but it kind of wasn't as close as I thought. I would kind of get turned around when the neighborhood my hotel was. And I was busy wanting to go in to, to Manhattan, and I was busy trying to get back from there at night. And I didn't want to go shopping somewhere else, or else it was, it was closed or whatever. So anyway, I had that. And then he showed me the Whole Foods in Manhattan that he likes to go to, and we had ginger ale there. It was a nice, not very sweet one, and then he would have taken me to his favorite place, which is Houston's. But it was like he walked in there, asked about it, and he says that the lady's like, "Are you kidding? Like he wanted reservations to use the restroom or to stand at the bar, or like they only had reservations to stand at the bar." And I'm like making jokes about it, after we left, of course. Inside, it was a very nice place, and so we went back and we ate at a diner. And he's like, "Well, we have this, we have fries, we have this eggs Benedict's really good." And he's mentioning all these things that are not exactly, like super diet friendly, right? But and I'm like, okay, the Euro or gyro or however you want to pronounce it, wrap sounded really good, and I had it with sweet potato fries, and I ate about half of it of the wrap, a little bit over half of it, and I had maybe a dozen sweet potato fries, and then Chris ate the rest of the wrap, and he had most of his eggs Benedict, not all of it, and we didn't have any dessert or any appetizer or anything like that, and that's how I ended. And so yeah, I had plenty of starch. I didn't have the best, most stellar, lots of vegetables and fruits and all that kind of thing like I normally do. But I walked a lot, and I got back, and on Sunday morning I was up 1.5 pounds. 1.5 and
That's
I
awesome.
ate wonderful food. I got to experience New York City's food, and I didn't stuff myself. I didn't eat more than, one, I mean, I'm sort of meal, if you want to call coffee or a smoothie, whatever, but, not really a meal. But I
Right.
didn't starve myself completely because I had some milk going on. I had some fruit sometimes. I had, I had things to get me by. And I walked a ton, And so today I will, I'll put out my short, but I am only up zero point 0.3 from where I was before I left. So I lost 1.2 pounds in one day. It
That's how
was
you know it
mainly
was
water weight.
inflammation, probably.
Yeah.
That was likely
So I mean, it's
inflammation.
coming off. Like in one week, I just will, be like okay, no harm, no foul. I didn't lose, I didn't gain, kind of thing, as an overall in one week, because I know I'm going to be down, at least to where it was before. So
Right.
that's how to do, a vacation and not gain weight and not starve yourself. Is, remember that you can, think of OMAD as in, okay, don't count, your coffee with a little bit of milk and some sugar and some fruit and things like that. Don't call, you can still have that kind of thing. Get yourself by until you have your wonderful meal and
Right.
enjoy it. Just don't overdo it, and share with other people. And, if they can afford it, let them eat the rest of your meal or whatever, or if you can, it's just like, that's all I'm eating. Sorry, but that's all I'm eating, it's, you stop when you have had enough and don't eat anymore. And I can have my dinner and eat it too, as long as I don't overdo it. And just like any other cheat meal day, where I will have my coffee, I will have my fruit, and then I will, when I'm ready, I have my meal. I just don't overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens, but it just didn't go way up. I exercised a lot. I mean, I walked a lot. It's not like I walked, at some hugely high pace most of the time. Although once in a while, Chris would, and he had this very gentle way of trying to get me to walk faster, which was he would be like a foot and a half ahead of me, try to get me to speed up a little bit. That was fun. But anyway, so do you want me to talk about Mini Chris or about New York City next?
Well, let's go through the comments and get what everybody was saying. So we have D
Okay.
in the chat, 21st century in the chat. Claudia D says she ate yummy pizza. I was so jealous. Margie, you were so brave. I've only been to NYC once. Very overwhelming. I live in Western New York and it has been bitter cold. 5 degrees last night. Oh my gosh, 5 degrees.
Ooh.
God.
Yeah, you
Um,
get the water, freeze off the water. It's horrible.
J4 says, "Hey girls," and then Lady T says, "Hi ladies." J4 says, "Wait, can you guys give me a quick update on what you guys are talking about? I just came in." So we were basically talking about Margie was giving us. She went to New York last week, or was it this week? No, last week. Yeah, because this is Monday,
Yeah.
and she's been on a weight loss journey this year, and she was, she has the goal to lose 100 pounds by the end of this year. So she was discussing
Mhm.
how she was able to still go on vacation and be able to maintain her weight loss or not gain much weight so that she can stay focused on her goal when she come back. So she was going to talking about that. J4 says a soy intolerance can happen when your immune system overreacts to proteins and they can cause symptoms with gastrointestinal and skin reactions or respiratory issues. Yeah. So, and that's
Cool.
why she was talking J4 because we were asking her um what she did in order to stay successful on this trip. Lady T says I walk a lot due to plantar fascia. I have to keep my weight down because if not, my heels or bone spurs will hurt. Oh, okay. Diet Magician, everybody, I want you guys to go follow all these people. Diet Magician is Vadim. He's gonna start his channel finally. So
Oh,
gotta go check him out.
hi,
That's
Vadim.
he said, was it your first time in New York? And you said yes. Chris,
Mhm.
Body, Mind, and Spirit. Yes, your coach. We can talk about him next. He says, hi from the subway. Uh Heading home, girls. Okay, nice. And then we have Brick Perspective in the building. She says,
Hey,
oh
Britt.
hi, it's great to see you. It's great to see you too. To see you here in the chat with us. Nancy says, hey girls, hey Nancy. And then Claudia says, Margie, would it be crazy if I wore ski pants to New York? I'll be there Wednesday, but I'm nervous about the cold. Why
It's
not? I mean,
it's
keep you
cold.
warm.
Yeah. Chris says that some people wear long underwear under their slacks. That all kinds of different layers, and make sure you have a cap and a scarf because the hood on your jacket will probably not be enough if you don't have a super warm jacket.
Mm.
It Wear your gloves. You can always, take things off and whatever with them. But yeah, I would say that if it was, there are going to be days where you may actually want to wear that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I had a thin
So
pair of,
you met Chris, the fab. Well, not no longer fabulous, but he's Chris, Body Mind Spirit, your health coach. You were able to
yes,
meet him in New York City.
yes.
So tell us how that was. I know it was exciting, because a lot of people have coaches online, but they have never met them in person. So you actually have the privilege to actually meet yours in person. So give us the rundown. Claudia says, thank you. Brick says, I've been wearing shorts. Oh, Brick, that's right. You out there in New York. You must be hot, girl. If you wear shorts in 20-degree weather. But yes, please tell us. I'm sure it was exciting to meet him for the first time and so on.
Yeah. Well, we become friends and we um, talk on the phone, all that kind of thing, and text and everything, and we joke around with each other and everything. And so yeah, meeting him. Well, I have I had the meeting actually when we first saw each other, and he gave me a hug on one of the videos. I guess that's the first the day one. I think it's day one and two because I didn't have enough footage to really do anything for the first day, so I had days one and two. That video, it's not a short, it's a video, and so he is he's usually a little more energetic than he was because he was a little under the weather, but he was still very energetic.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, it's like he's looking for a second, and then he saw me, and he starts walking very fast towards me, and you could see people on the other side going, "What's going?" They turn around like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "Margie Mitchell! Oh, look at it!" They're like, and he just gives you this big hug, and then he's like, "Let me look at you. Oh, you look so skinny," and all this and all kind of stuff. Anyway, there's, "Oh, let's get going," kind of thing, and so it. But he's like he is on his videos, but he's sweeter in person, and he's very, 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 very much a gentleman, and he's always watching out, making sure that I could, get across in time and helping me understand how to do that. But he helped me see things from the New Yorker standpoint of view, how, New York from a New Yorker's point of view. And that's what I wanted, because I didn't want all the tourist traps and all the touristy things and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to go to Empire State Building, but that is just amazing. And it's not a tourist trap. But um, he wanted me to see it from his eyes, what he likes and what, and all
Mhm.
of that. So we went places, and yes, he can walk a lot faster, but he was very patient with me because I am not a very fast walker. I'm on the
And he's
slow
tall
side.
too. I don't know if you're
Oh
tall,
yes,
but I
he's
know he's tall, so he got longer
yeah,
legs to take bigger steps.
yeah. I'm 5'8", but I think I've actually shrunk to more like 5'7.5". But I basically 5'8", and he's over 6'2". Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's tall. And he looks slimmer in person than he does on the videos. It's going to add something to it, but he looks and he looks more handsome in person. By the way, I just would have to
That
say
was the next question. Do he look better in person? Because some people
he
are like
does.
photogenic, and then some people just look better off camera
Well, he doesn't look bad on camera, but he looks particularly nice in
Okay.
person.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but um, but yeah, and he's he really is a very sweet person, and is I just felt immediately comfortable with him. I know if you could see some of the thumbnails of his pictures, there's one that he did from today, the thumbnail on his video today, and it's like that's my favorite one of the two of us, because it's like both of us, kind of doing the Bonnie and Clyde, let's paint the town red kind of thing, and we're just like looking really cool. But when we went shopping that first day, he took me into Bergdorf's, and I'm like, okay, you can, and you did let, and let us go in. You can look around and do whatever. And we took a picture with Santa Claus, and that was fun. There's Santa Claus there, and it's quite the place to see. The decorations in New York, they just do Christmas, so it's the decorations, and they all have the music, and it just so wonderful. And so, but we went in there, and he's kidding around about, he's showing me, oh, should I do this with the dress, whatever, and he's showing what he likes. He goes, "And what do you like? What are your fashion choices?" And so, it was a fun day, then we tried on some of this party hat thing, and had this look on his face. It was hilarious. But anyway, he's very funny, and very charming, and he's very, very nice to other people, and will go get into conversations. "Oh, I remember you." Like when we went to the Korean restaurant, he's like, "Oh, hey, I remember you from when this first opened, and it was about 2 years ago. Do you remember me?" And a lot of people remember him because he's just a very memorable guy, right?
Mm.
And so, yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you meet him, he gives you a hug. You leave for the night, he gives you a hug. And is that kind of person. But he's also, when he had to leave me for a little while because he needed to do a music lesson, um, teach guitar. He said, "Okay, now I'm going to leave you here." Walked me to the Plaza Hotel. And I should be either here or the Apple store or the Bergdorf's. That's where I'm going to want to find you. And we'll just because he's kind of like, you're in my town now. I'm responsible for you. I want to make sure. I mean, it's not like I can't do things myself, but he just, like, I just want to make sure you're okay.
Right.
And so, anyway, so and then he went down to the Apple store and everything. But anyway, he's very engaging and very friendly with other people, and very kind. And so that's, he's a lot of fun to be around.
So you
I
guys
don't know
did a
what
lot
else to
of
say.
walking together. Did you do
Hmm.
any other workouts outside of the walking, or was walking primarily the workout you guys did together?
Yeah, that was the workout we did together. I did um go to the gym once at the hotel.
Mm.
Um, and I did, some upper body and lower body workout, but yeah, I kind of started getting a little tired because I was walking so much, and I don't know, I just didn't. I wanted to get into Manhattan. I wanted to sleep a little later so I, could have the energy to do everything. And um, but when I got back on Sunday, well, I did get back actually on Sunday morning about 1:30 in the morning. But anyway, at least I didn't have any red eyes, but I did get the ones I really wanted, but that would have been like $600-700 for the round trip ticket. So I ended up spending less than 400 with getting the right seats and all the luggage checked and whatever that I needed. So I didn't think that was too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But where was I going with that?
You have any more
We were just
spider stuff?
no. So you were just talking about how when you met Chris, how he was, and I was just asking, where did you guys work out at all? You said you guys did
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of
So I
walking,
only
and
just
then
did
you
that
mentioned
one time.
that you went to the gym
Yeah,
at your
yeah. I think
hotel.
he might. Right. I think he might have done more, but he wasn't feeling that well. On Friday, he was really not feeling well, really apologetic. And I'm like, look, you need to stay home. You're doing the right thing. You're being wise by saying, um, I need to do that. I was saying, I would feel so guilty if you got even sicker and got more run down, um, and didn't tell me what was going on. And so, he was very honest about it. I just need to do this. And he's like, no, I think, and later on, he's like, no, I think I can, walk a few blocks um, to the restaurant. It's not very far away. And so, anyway, yeah, so he was going to try to do something with that, but it just didn't work out, and he wasn't, feeling well. By Saturday, he was feeling enough better, and he thought, well, I wasn't sure how long he would be there, but he ended up feeling enough better that we just spent, until I needed to go back to my hotel and get my luggage that I kept in, that they kept on hold for me. He, he was able to stay quite a bit. So, yeah, we
Okay.
never did do any of that. But I mean, we did so many steps, and I am still not very good with stairs. I'm much better than I was, but I mean, I do not walk upstairs very fast. And I was tired on Saturday. I was so tired because they had music outside the hotel. And then after that, it was between 4 and 5 when these people were in the hall and they kept talking. And then I don't know if another group that talked or whatever, but I just was so tired. And so he was teasing about how many times I was yawning because I was yawning all this. And he said, I'm going to start counting this. I'm going to time how many between it. It can't even be real that you have so many. It was funny. But yeah, we did not work out except for a lot of walking and up the stairs and at the subway. You're gonna ride the stairs unless you do the elevator, and only have elevators at certain stops and all that. And of course, I wasn't going to do that. Obviously, I
Right.
was like, I can do it. I'm just slow at it. And I try to get over to the side and try to get out of everybody's way. But anyway, yeah, he would have done something at the hotel gym. They probably would have let him, but he just didn't feel well enough to
Oh.
do all that.
Okay. So, let me see what the comments are saying here. Okay, so Brick was saying she's been wearing shorts in that cold weather because she also lives out there. She says she loves the cold. Claudia says, Brick, my hero, but I feel better now. Brick says, haha, good to hear. Um, dude, I hate that tall guys walking so fast. That's what Brick said. And she laughed out loud. Chris said, of course I'm responsible for you. Hey, gang. Just got home. Hey, Brick. And then Brick says she just got done with work and she's so tired. Girl, I feel you. I just got off too, literally right when I logged on here. And then Vadim, the diet magician. I can't wait to see your video, Vadim. He said, did you go to Times Square or any Broadway shows? And Chris said yes, she did. And NYC will kick your butt, girl. So tell us about the shows. Tell us about all the fun things that you did. Broadway shows, Times Square,
I
or
did get
whatever attractions and things you did while you was there.
Okay, well, I'll answer that. The Times Square, I walked through Times Square because I just happened to end up there because I was going to go to Bryant Park, but I got the wrong whatever anyway. So I ended up walking through Times Square to get to the subway. But there's nothing really to see as much as just you could see the advertisement, and then I don't think there's a whole lot there that really is to me is that big of a deal. But I did see Times Square. I did not go to a Broadway show. What did I see? So on, okay, let me start at the beginning. I went and I saw nothing except for going to Jacob's Pickles on Tuesday, so that's not really a thing. Um, and then Wednesday
You saw the
we
Statue of
saw
Liberty because you was on some type of ferry or something. I remember that, right?
right, right, right. That was Friday. Friday I saw Statue of Liberty. I went on to Wall Street and took a picture of because they're not like it's not like a grid um like when you get north in Midtown, it's very in a grid, but the older section is Lower Manhattan, and it's very windy and it's not all grid set and whatnot. But I was able to find Wall Street fairly easily, so I did that. Yeah, I rode the ferry, and that's free, by the way. So if you want to see Statue of Liberty, go by it, which it goes fairly close to it, and take pictures of it. Stay on the right side when you go from Lower Manhattan to Staten Island, and on the left side when you're going from Staten Island to the port on Lower Manhattan, and you just get out and you go into the other ferry, and in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're going again. But I did that, and then I think I went up to Grand Central Station. Yeah, and I saw the Central Grand Central Market,
Mm.
which is very cool. And I saw, I mean, just going into Grand Central Station is amazing. The chandeliers are beautiful. I took pictures of those as well. That would be day 4. Um, I think I was trying to do something else and I didn't get to it, but I did Grand Central Station. I think I went home after. I think I went back to the after that. On Wednesday, we went to Bergdorf's. We went to at the end of the night, we went to Chris's favorite department store, which is Bloomingdale's. Oh, good grief, we did so many things, and I can't even went to different malls. Chris, help me out. My brain is mush at the moment. Bergdorf's, we went to, oh yeah, the Plaza Hotel, but we couldn't go in because it was too busy, so they wouldn't let people in. They would let people in if it wasn't that during this Christmas too many tourists thing. Of course, I saw the big Apple store. That was amazing. That is it's like so many stories high, and it's just humongously huge. What else did I see on
Sounds
that
like
day? A lot, but my brain is just mush at the moment. And went to the Bronx. Yeah.
So did you hit up any clubs or go dancing or do any little bars or any of those little nightlife type of locations? Did you get some cheesecake
Oh, no, no,
on the
no.
way?
We didn't do any of those things at all. Yeah,
Central Park, he
on the
said.
last day I saw
Vadim said, did you go to Central Park?
yes, I did see a corner of Central Park. I did see Bryant Park, and when they had the ice skating there.
Oh,
I did see a little bit of Gramercy Park. Um, I did see Union Station. I went back and saw Grand Central Station again from a New Yorker's point of view, which that was a fun because I could do it from my point of view. I could go with my family some, and I could see it from a New Yorker's point of view, which was Chris's point of view. So I got quite a few different points of view. And I have to say, it's really not that unfriendly of a town. I mean, it's not like a little town where everybody's saying, "Hey, how are you?" as you walk by the street. But you ask somebody something, and quite a few people are quite willing to help you. I mean, at first it's with this subway, I had to ask how to get to 3 because they realized it was like way, way, way. You got to keep walking and walking and going up these stairs, around this, around this, and around that, and everything. But once I got the idea, I was like, oh, okay, great. I don't need to ask any more questions. I've got it figured out now. But nobody does Christmas like New York City. It's absolutely beautiful, decorated, and just it's just a great vibe. A little cold this particular Christmas time in the season, but maybe usually it's not that cold. But
no snow?
Beautiful. Huh?
Was it snowing?
No, 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 it wasn't
Uh,
snowing at all. It rained the first day that I was there, um, but, no, no snow or anything like that. But, it's a great got a great vibe. I mean, the subway, once you get the idea of it, it only takes a couple times. You're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, got it," and the 7 goes to here, and the 4, 5 goes here, and you learn some enough of them to go, "Yeah, okay, I get it." And, like, when I was trying to go back from Lower Manhattan, I'm like, I saw this other subway and I'm like, oh, hey, okay, that's the NW. Yeah, I can take that up and get off at wherever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I knew exactly what to do. Um, and of course, there's also the app also, but it was really pretty easy to get around. Um, I just when I was out on the streets, I would get turned around and which way I was going, and I thought I was going the right way, and then I won't because if sometimes those streets are not number names, and so you get Broadway in the middle, and you get some other ones that go certain ways. You get some avenues that aren't the numbers, and that starts to really play with me. And how so I got turned around sometimes, but I eventually, only one day did I get completely turned around. I was trying to go to Bryant Park, and I ended up at Times Square. It was kind of weird, but then I caught this train and it went to Bryant Park, but I'm like, I'm too tired. I just want to go home. And like some days you're just like, I've done too much
right.
and all
No,
of that. But
Chris is giving a whole rundown. He said, "Sorry, he's back." He said, "Central Park, Empire State Building, Wall Street, Statue of Liberty, Union Square, Bryant Park."
oh,
Vadim
St. Patrick's
says
Cathedral.
Bryant Park
Among
is
other things.
cool. Is That's what Vadim said. Claudia said she loves snacking at Bryant Park. Chris said it was absolutely freezing. Hey, Sean John. Chris said you did Rockefeller Center Street, $45 for a sandwich. That's crazy. That's crazy. But it sounded like you had a great time. It sounded like despite you having a great time on vacation, you still was able to keep your weight gain to a low minimum. And
Right, right.
like, let's get into your year end goal because this is the last month because you started your journey. So go ahead, tell us when you started and then like what your goal is. You want to drop this 100 pounds in a year.
24, so almost 2020.
Right.
New Year's Eve pounds to have lost 100 pounds. I am now at 8 pounds. I go by just the full number.
Right.
So, you know, just understand that I won't say it's whatever until I get down to the full number of being whatever it is. I'm
Right.
not going to go by the
Right.
point
Right.
whatever's. So I was at 7 pounds before I started, and I'm at 8 pounds, but I know I'll be down where I only have 7 pounds left by tomorrow. I mean, do I know 100% no, but I mean, I have a generally good idea that I'm giving what I've eaten today and exercise and all of that. And it wasn't a super exercise day. I didn't work out yesterday. I worked out, but I did get walking in and all of that. So that was helpful. Um, but so I'm going to say right now I have 7 pounds more to go, and it's only December 28th.
Ninth.
Yeah, so the
Ninth.
ninth,
It's
ninth.
no, it's eighth. It's eighth because my daughter's birthday is the 10th.
Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right. Cool.
So anyway, by the ninth anyway, so I have um 22 days to go. Well, actually, I have to have 21 days to go. Um,
Yay.
and And so I really think that that's not a big deal because I don't have parties and whatnot until Christmas Eve. And I'll have fun on Christmas Eve and I'll be a little more restrained on Christmas Day. Obviously, I will do the one meal a day and get coffee, fruit, then the meal. I will be more restrained on Christmas Day. And then I am going to be as good as gold through New Year's Eve and beyond because I don't really celebrate New Year's Eve besides, oh, yay, it's New Year's. Okay, great. Now I get to go to bed kind of thing. I never go anywhere or anything
I
like that.
usually
So,
sleep.
so it makes it easy.
I bring in New
I'm
Year's
not out.
with I'll bring in New Year's with Chris because I always bring it in at the New York time. Because here it's like 3 hours later. I might as well just watch the ball drop on in New York and then just go to bed.
Yeah.
Looks
So
like
anyway,
he said no snow. We had Wow, no snow. We had snow for 10 days so far in Rochester, New York. Oh dang. Well, fortunately, you missed out on that snow because that probably would have been, not you wouldn't have been able to walk around and do all the things you wanted to do. And you are 7 pounds away, 8 pounds away now from that goal.
Yeah, right. And I just don't think that's going to be a big problem because, I'm going to kind of switched up the way I ate. And so now it should be able to come off a little easier.
Mhm.
And I will, if I need to be a little more strict some days to get it to come off, I will do that. I'm not going to overdo things and make it so that I, end up in a stall afterwards kind of thing. Nothing
Yeah,
crazy. I'm just
yeah,
going to keep it clean and I might do a couple different protocols to kind of speed it up slightly. But I mean, it's only like 2 pounds, a little over 2 pounds a week.
right,
I can lose 2 to 3 pounds a week easily at this
right.
point. So not a problem. So yeah, I think I'm going to, and even if for some reason I end up with some weird stall or something goes wrong, um, I get injured or something and I get sick or whatever, which usually kind of slows things down. I will be there right soon after the end of the year, but it should not be a problem at all. Chris doesn't think it's a problem, and Chris is almost always right. Okay, dude, I'm sorry. Always right, speaking. He is though. He's always right. He's like, you're gonna be only up maybe as much as 2 pounds, and I didn't even gain 2 pounds. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. So, he has a pretty good idea of what's gonna happen. And, once in a while there can be little, hiccups in the situation. But yeah. And so I don't see a problem with it. And that's my goal. And all I can do is, have a goal that I think is very attainable. And it's nothing, it's not some 5 pounds a week kind of thing, which is kind of difficult. Um, and I just have, like I'm treating Christmas Eve, like I said, as a cheat meal, and being careful on Christmas Day, and I'll be fine.
Mhm. Well, you've been doing a fabulous job. Um, it's been, a long year of success, which is great. It looks like you've been, consistent over time and it's paid off. And you have a wonderful coach with Chris, and he's been, keeping you on target. So I definitely feel like you will reach your goal by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that he is one of those people who, if it's not working, it's like, okay, we got to try something a little bit different. And he can, like, coaches are supposed to do. They try to get you through the stalls, and they try to motivate you to, keep going and keep
Right.
losing the weight, but not that something that's going to hurt you long term. That's
Right.
that's not what. But we work really well together.
Mhm.
And that's part of it is, you find the coaches that you work well with. And obviously I feel very blessed to have him as a coach.
Yes, and you got to meet him in person. That's super exciting.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he really is like he is on his videos, except he was a little under the weather, so he wasn't quite as exuberant, but pretty much. But like I said, what I told you about it, he just, yeah, Chris is Chris.
Awesome. So give us some like closing statements, motivations. Tell us something that, I know Thanksgiving passed. It seemed like you did very well during that time as well.
Mhm.
So just put out some like, some advice or something motivational for everybody that's watching before we close out.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would say, yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving, for some reason, it took me probably 3 days to get back out of that one. I don't know why. Sometimes it's something I didn't exercise near as much. I did exercise, but not like I did in New York City. But sometimes it's going to take you a little bit longer to bounce back, depending on what you're doing and whatnot. But just plan ahead, and 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 be, and just be smart about it. You don't need to. I mean, it's expensive to eat out anyway. Just learn how to manage it so you enjoy a meal, but you're being careful other times. That's a good way of doing it. So just be smart about it. That's all you got to do. you don't have to eat everything under the sun, obviously, and probably people won't, but be careful and get enough exercise. And the big thing is you can enjoy yourself and not worry about, everything if you have a plan. And
Mhm.
I had a plan. I planned because of Chris, and Chris helping me, a lot making it through this, and he helped me to enjoy and not feel guilty about, oh no, I can't have that. I'd rather have this, and I better have, and I did enjoy, and I'm almost back to normal, where I was. And the other is, sometimes I had a struggle in the middle of the year.
Mm.
The for in the middle of the year from May through, well, actually I would say middle of April through the middle of August was hard. I didn't lose that much. I mean, I lost some, but I didn't do that well. Um, but sometimes things, you just got to figure out what works.
Right.
And if you're going to work with a coach, find one that you can work really well with, that you can communicate really well with, that you can say, hey, look, I'm having a problem with this, or hey, can we slow this down a little bit? I'm thinking about binging or something like that. We got to figure something out here. And um, I communicate really well with Chris, and I will tell him when something isn't quite right. But the big thing is, yeah, sometimes things aren't going to be quite right. Keep working on it and switch things up if it's not right. Because I had to switch things up, and part of it was what I learned within a few weeks of having Chris as a coach was I had to get out of my own mind of how things were, that I could have those days when I could just, not have to worry about all these things, and I could, eat the other things that I don't normally eat, and eat, have more starches and more whatever, and I could go back and forth and back and forth. Like, no, you can't do that. You have to stay consistent and have just that one cheat meal day. And not being, I was doing that, but I was kind of resentful at first. And then I realized, yeah, no, this is working. And so, I say, try out their way first. And if it's working, then, you have somebody you can trust. If it's not, then, maybe they're not the right coach for you. But there are answers out there. There are people who can help you out there, but nobody can help you if you don't have the motivation, the deep motivation to do it, and you don't do the work yourself.
Mhm.
But have a deep, deep motivation. Everybody knows my deep motivation. I didn't want to become disabled. I
Mm.
know, not like in a wheelchair disabled, but unable to do a bunch of things because I was too heavy and I didn't get enough exercise. It was hard to exercise enough and all of that. And I want to have a nice, enjoy my life as much as I can as I get older. And I'm not old, but I'm a little bit on the old side. and
You're not
and
that
I do
old.
not want. Well, I know people like that. Like, yeah, okay, but they do. A lot of people do consider me a senior. I did get the senior discount at the rec center, which is nice. But anyway, yeah, I do
You
get some
get a
discounts,
senior
so that makes it
discount
nice.
65, I think, or something like that.
No, sometimes some senior things are 55. Some of them are
Oh,
60. Some of them are 62. It
oh,
depends
okay.
on situation. So I didn't quite get the discount for not that old. I mean, it's not like I can't lose weight and all of that, but yeah, I have a strong motivation. I am not going back because I refuse to be somebody that has to be taken care of and can't have a full life because I don't have my weight mobile enough. I want to be mobile enough. And that's a huge thing. And I have a shift in my mind of, yeah, you know, I've had a shift and found food that I enjoy. I enjoy coffee with the honey in it. Just enjoy that very much. And the milk. I enjoy fruit more than I used to because the fruit keeps me from feeling like I have to have dessert or I have to have that bread or I have to have that whatever. It is a good, satisfying tool. And I've learned how I need some protein in the morning to make kind of in and out later. and do what I need to do to keep myself from being too hungry.
Mm,
I find ways of, making it work when it's colder. And sometimes it's not that cold and I'm good with just the fruit and coffee. But, just switch it up. Still hungry, but I'm not, stuffed. I don't let myself get stuffed, but I'm not hungry. And people sometimes are like, oh, you must be starving. I wouldn't be able to stick with it if I was. I enjoy it. And, the whole thing. And Chris, not enjoying it, let me know. We need to find, a way of making it a little more enjoyable.
right,
I mean, it's not saying that, I want exactly the way I want it all the time, but I have foods that I like and I'm not bored of it. And I keep finding, that they have some really cool produce there that I don't always have available around here. And, chunk of Parmigiano Reggiano, and I'm like, oh, good, I can have a little chunk, and just finding these special little enjoyable, and I had in a long time, the boneless, just like Chris showed in his video today, and I didn't have the sweet potato with it, but I had some smoked peppers that I sauteed with it in olive oil, and some sliced tomatoes I had to pair with it. And it was just super lovely. It's not quite that clean sometimes, but that's the whole thing is there's the cheat meals. But yeah, the big thing is enjoy what you eat or you're not going to be able to do it for long. Um, Make it a lifestyle. Switch it up when you need to. Find help when if you need help. And you got to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you.
yes, I
And
love
Merry
that.
Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year and
Awesome.
Happy Hanukkah.
Right, there's all of that going on. So thank you, Margie. It's been a pleasure as always to hear about all the things you got going on from your vacation to, your goals for the year, how you're achieving them, working with Chris. Like it's just such a great, refreshing live, and I'm so happy that you were able to come on short notice. It was nice. I was able to see you. It's just really encouraging and motivating, and I'm sure not just for me, but for everybody watching. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody watching. If you guys are not already following Margie, you can follow her. She has all the videos from New York on there when she met Chris on there. Like all the days she was there, all the details, and after how she's been able to manage to keep the weight down. So follow her up. Let's see if there's any other comments in here. Looks like he said, Eve, what are you wearing? I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It says World Tour on it because it's cold and I'm like it's cold and it's like in the 40s I think, so I can't imagine those. It's like 50s 40s but still cold, shoot. And then Claudia says her hotel has free breakfast, so she's excited about that. Chris said that you guys had fun. Brick said the world's something. Nope, that's not it. Chris says thanks, even Margie. Thanks all. Yes, thank you guys. We will be back
And
again.
thank you, Eve,
Um,
for having me. I appreciate that so much.
yes, you're welcome. I'm glad you were able to come. We will do this again. Me and Chris will be doing this again soon. So until next time, we love you guys and we'll see you later. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.